potentially a dormant sex life for
Yep.
some people. How to bring in a conversation and how to navigate bringing up this kind of topic, which can be quite tedious or resistant to having the conversation. In your experience, what's some of the strategies and ways to, bring up a really open dialogue about this topic?
Well, I kind of like to look at the root of what we're asking for when we want to have sex, right? So if you can tell that you're like, that there's a feeling of maybe missing out or missing it, or, we can look at that and be like, what is that about? And for most people, I would say it's about feeling connected to their partner. And also when we have good sex, we can feel pretty good about ourselves. So, but that's a kind of deeper conversation. So I'd say that essentially it's about connection and feeling connected to the partnership, particularly in this conversation, is that maybe because the kids have taken up the priority for so long, it's about the two of you coming back to prioritizing your partnership and your relationship as its own unit, as well as the individuals being their own unit, and then the family being also this other unit, and that they all need care and attention and sometimes support. So I would say that you could start there by saying, hey, I'd love to connect back with you into our erotic life or our sex life or our adult way of being. And I miss you. I miss just our time together is a beautiful place to, yeah. And I imagine what comes up there for a lot of people is that it's a vulnerable place to say that you've got to be vulnerable to say what's going on there, but that's where the beauty and the tenderness is, and that's what we share with our partner. So what tends to happen is like, people only talk to sex when they're in reaction. So it's like, we're not having enough sex, or fuck, like we haven't had sex for ages. And therefore, and then everyone's feeling the pressure and you're probably creating more separateness. But if we really look at what's happening, maybe one of you feels disconnected from the other, or one of you misses the other, really. And to just name that can be a beautiful place to start. Or if you don't want to name it and you're liking what I was saying at the beginning about being the secondary carer, and okay, great. So I'm going to set up maybe a date, and, also understanding where your partner is around sex and penetration specifically as well. Like, do they feel comfortable? If it was a vaginal birth, how are they doing? Checking in with everything that you may have witnessed as a partner, and actually further asking like you're a friend and someone who cares. So just checking in with her, anatomy and vagina, and how is it? How's the tear going? Can I massage this beautiful oil that your best friend recommended I get into your body for you? And in that initial first kind of 6 months, a year, it's that kind of stuff that is what I mean by you taking care of the relationship. And the primary carer is there a massage? Is there scar tissue that you're happy to help her, massage oil into? What is a place to be careful about when we're talking like that is that you don't want to fall into a carer role, because you still want to be the partner and the lover, but it's shifted from when the two of you probably just met to now being a family unit. And what does a sex life look like, eroticism look like now when you are a family, and when you have three kind of relationships to take care of: your partnership, yourself, and your family. So it means, and I guess this is where I'll leave you some tips for today. If there's, feel free to ask me anything if we've kind of missed out on it, but ways that we can at least work towards sex. And what I think is really important with sex is that the goal orientated side of it isn't really a part of the conversation. And I recommend that for everyone. Of course, yes, we want to be having orgasms, some of us, and we can get a bit like, oh, you know, if you have an orgasm or I have an orgasm, that means I'm amazing and you're amazing and we're all amazing. But that then makes my performance like what you feel about me. And we want to not be doing that in the bedroom, because particularly for women, we got a lot going on up here. More and more we're working out actually men are affected as well by their psyches and the chit chat that they're having in their mind and their bodies. You know, when we've got like premature ejaculation or staying hard kind of things coming up, you know, the only difference is that you can't see our vagina. We can see your penis, you know, and it's like staring us. And it's also the job of the person looking at the penis to not take that on either. Like there's no direct correspondence between like, you know, his penis, my self-worth. And so often we're adding all that kind of pressure. So I want to just say to men that it's really common that our bodies respond to stress, and that for people with penises, that looks like not getting hard on when you want to immediately, or not staying hard, or coming really quickly because you're not necessarily embodied with your genitals. And that is what I teach, because that is, you know, people come to me and they're like, I want to have more orgasm or a better experience of sex, but we're not embodied throughout the day. And again, that's where the work you're doing with men is and women, bringing them back into their bodies. And because sex is the ultimate embodied experience. So we've got to start somewhere, and we've got to be having this body conversation all day. That was a little bit of a tendril, I think.
Perfect though. I mean, I feel like this is a conversation that can explode into many different directions, and you've already offered so much great, you know, just open ways to connect, you know, men, women, and having these real conversations. So the truth talk of this is really important. I think I appreciate you just bringing it up the way that you have, so it can just connect with everyone, because that's the real talk that we're all after. You've given us lots of tips and strategies that can be implemented.
Oh yeah, you're welcome, and thank you. And let me just also say, so I'll make it like really clear, because that's also what I'm working at, is that, so we've got the no pressure, no goal orientation. So that means that sex life can look like anything. That if I say scheduling is one of the best things. So if you've got a family, schedule your adult time and your erotic time. And that can just be a wine uninterrupted for 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon. And that the kids, the secondary carer, the kids are taken care of, the date's planned, and you just let her know, babe, mum's got the kids Friday night, you and me, they're there till Sunday. Let me know if there's something you want to happen or something that you want to do in this time. But I've put aside 3 hours for us to listen to some erotica, to read this new book I got, and to see what happens. Make a playlist together that reminds us of sexy times, or that is sexy music that you might be hearing somewhere else. And just actually creating the conversation again around a sex life. And the point is that sex is part of our lives, and that we should make it as such, that sensuality is all day. And that's kind of, I guess, also similar to the work you do, that you can be, you know, exercising incidentally all day. For me, I teach that you can be having sensual experiences all day, and that sensuality is a beautiful gateway to healthy sexuality. So scheduling. And I also want to mention this final thing that is something I've come up with, is that we need a bridging activity from this day-to-day stressed place that we're in, because women cannot, or cis women, people with wombs, cannot arouse from stress. So from a nervous system that's like this, then you come home from work and she's just coming down a little, and we had some dinner and and then you're like, hey, you look beautiful today. She's again like that. It's because we have to settle the nervous system. So this is where I would say that the bridging activity might be listening to that playlist, having a dance around the living room. It might be that you say, hey, do we want to go for a walk to help wind down, have a bit of chit chat while you're walking, maybe putting on a sexy movie that, has some hot scenes in it and is going to like completely distract and take you right into that space. No pressure, but just allowing sensual and erotic vitality to be at least available from this calm and relaxed nervous system, which is the key part of the mismatch of what is happening with men and women, is that men can be a bit more visual and really responsive in their arousal. Like they can just it's going like this, when we're not really stressed, and that women don't have that same. They need the mind to kind of, not that the mind can ever be clear, but soften. And if the mind is really busy, they're going to be there, and then the nipples can't get hard, pupils won't dilate, you won't get wet. So we've got all these kind of barriers that then are a no's for her, really, like a no in her body. Maybe she's saying yes because she feels bad and wants to be a good partner and realizes that you have these other desires. But we don't want to create a pathway in the body that is just like, yeah, okay, go for it. We want the body to be saying yes. And that's when we're having this great, empowered, connected sex. And we want that for you as well. And again, that's the work you're doing, this yes, like feeling strong and active and ready to be there and be grounded for also what she needs. Because that's the energy of the masculine, is it can hold, it is grounded, it is a safe container for her, or the fluidity of the feminine, to be in flow and sensuality and creation. So those together create the balance and the match and the coming together. So we've got to look at that in our daily lives and in the bedroom and in so many aspects. So
many amazing things, so many amazing offerings. And I mean, just to talk about the work that we're doing, I mean, scheduling self-care time, training time, designing routines and evening routines. I mean, this is just something else to add that, the benefits and the value in doing this to just increase the potency of the romantic relationship is so important. And so I feel like you've given us so many things, and that's why I've been shaking my head and nodding and just like salivating at the thought of all the tips and tricks that you've offered. And I've learned a lot from you, over the journey about this caregiving role that we have. And to me, that's kind of opened up the topic of like what a sex life is, because it's just so much more than just the act of having sex. It's about serving and being available and giving and the touch and the look and the feel. And I just think it's all like real things that can be really integrated so directly that it's a great invitation for everyone to just listen in, soak up the great wisdom from Vanessa, and then just implement it in daily life today.
Yep, beautiful. I'm glad it's resonating, Dan. And that's it. So we've got, that you've got the primary carer and the secondary. The secondary looks after the relationship. We want to take away the goal-orientated pursuit of orgasm and sex, and we want to focus on the bridge and planning time for the two of you to be adults, to be partners, to have the friendship and the lover connection, if we're talking archetypes. Beautiful.
Thank you so much for your time. I mean, this is just the first of many times we're going to get together and explore basically every aspect of this to a deeper degree. But I mean, everything you've just offered is perfect. Vanessa, thanks for your time. And if people want to know a little bit more about you and what you do, where could they find you?
miamuse.com, MIAMUSE. Definitely on Instagram as well, miamuse.pleasure. And yeah, I'm working with clients. I'm pretty booked up for this year, so probably taking new clients in Feb. But yeah, offering a few good things in the upcoming future around this work. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of people will find enjoyment in it. So I'll let you know when it's all ready to go.
Please do, and I look forward to having you back. And thanks again for your time and for sharing such great content with us.
You're so welcome, Dan. Thanks.